Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee on Friday, October 4th. Um, we've got a lot to cover today. I'm going to explain more to you about how it looks like the attack on Iran is going to come. Now, we can't always be exactly precise on this, but I'm going to engage you with some possibilities about what can happen. Israel alone, Israel in America, and so forth. But I want you to understand why the attack is happening, okay? And that's because Iran crossed a lot of red lines with America, of course, with Israel. And I'm going to cover three, but I'll probably actually cover five of them. Okay, Iran really provoked this. And the final straw was not the 180 missiles the other day. Forget that. For the last year, America has been extremely comfortable with Israel getting attacked every day. That doesn't bother America. Get real. Okay? Now, I will be telling you that Israel is a proxy state to America. Now, some of you won't believe it. Now, the government of Israel is not walking with Jehovah and Yeshua. Forget that. Okay? And the easy way to understand this, that some of you may choke on it, but it's true, is it's common knowledge that Ukraine is a proxy state of America. Well, NATO, America. In the case of Ukraine, it's not only America, it's the NATO countries. To weaken and bring Russia to a place where it can be dealt with. Okay? And Israel is a proxy state in the Middle East to bring Iran and her proxies to a place where they're no longer a threat to American dominance. NATO's not really much of an issue here. And America treats Israel just like the proxy Ukraine. They don't fight shoulder to shoulder. They give them intelligence support, reconnaissance. They give them weapons, money, just like they do with Ukraine. Of course, they give Ukraine more money and more weapons, but that you need to understand. And when Ukraine stops paying close attention to America, then you see Zelensky get on a plane and go to America and say he's sorry, and then more money and weapons come. Netanyahu is not exactly the same personality as Zelensky. He has political election problems and so forth. But that's the reality of it. And again, if you doubt this, just look at how they treat Ukraine and how they treat Israel. And it stands right there. You have to alter the facts to get around that argument. And I know there's a lot of nincompoops that say, oh, America, Israel runs America, they got the PACs and the lobbyists. And come on. America's been watching Israel get missile attacked almost every day for practically a year, non-stop, after a big invasion on October 7th. And you think they care about us getting missile attacked? Are you serious? Are you really serious? They're telling us to give up more land. Come on. Get real. Okay. And we're going to cover war tactics and different scenarios. And I'm going to open your eyes up to the technical problems that Israel has attacking Iran and some of the things they may do, but some of the things that Israel would likely do, nobody's going to predict, just like the pager and walkie-talkie attack. Nobody predicted. Okay? All right. I'm going to jump into the live stream at this point to make sure we got sound and picture. Um, Over the years, I've done what I can do for the sound. Um, this is better than I've had it. It's an advanced iPad with 4 microphones. iPads don't have USB connections where you plug something. I mean, the newest modern ones do, but they're expensive, and I don't have one. And they're in Israel. They're something like $1,500, $1,700, and I don't have one. And in that, if I did, then I could just plug a microphone in. If anybody cares to help me get one, let me know. But I don't have one at this point. So this is, the only other thing I could try to do is try to get into some wireless Bluetooth thing. And, honestly, I don't know if it's going to be any good or any better. I tried a couple years ago using cameras and microphones and a computer. It was a MacBook Pro, and it was, at the time, MacBook didn't have an app for YouTube. Didn't make an app for the MacBook Pro. Now they do, but the sound on the MacBook Pro is a little bit better, but it's a lot more of a pain in the neck to use, and so I do what I can do. I'm a one-man show, okay? My offerings are nowhere near what the big church preaching doctrine guys have, because number one, people don't want to give to a Jew. I'm serious. Yeshua's a Jew, the apostles were Jews, the prophets are Jews, the kings of Israel Jews, and they don't want to give to a Jew, okay? And they go to church. In Israel, the people that there are some countries where they really like Israel: Norway, Finland, Denmark, and different ones, right? And I'll tell you what they do. They put a churchianity, phony baloney, bad doctrine person here in Israel. And when the people travel from their country to come visit Israel as tourists, they go to that guy and they throw money at him like it's going out of style. Okay? That's what they do. They don't want to give to Jews. All right? And let's see how they do when you start seeing the tares in the wheat getting separated. Let's see how they do. Okay? All right, let me go check into the live stream. Separated. Let's see how they do. Okay? All right, let me go check into the live stream. I keep trying to change this from, maybe I can do it here. Let me go check into the live stream. Oh, I figured out how to change it. Okay. Do I know Don Shipley? I never heard the name before. Okay. If you want my Telegram, send me an email. I'll put my email address up momentarily, and I'll send you the link for my Telegram. Okay. I have a spiritual warfare Telegram you might be interested in. I have the news Telegram, which is heavy on Israel, and it comes from social media mostly, like 80%. And it's derived directly or indirectly from Arab and Farsi. Well, there is no Farsi social media that's worth anything. Arab and Hebrew and Israeli social media, so you get a pretty good insight. Okay, I'm going to put a couple of fast offerings up, and then we'll get posts up. And this gives people a chance to come in. I'm also going to cover what it's likely the timing on this attack on Iran is going to be like, and I've got some objective data to cover with you on that. And I'm putting my email address up right now. Somebody wanted me to mention that there is no real weather control nonsense, okay? They might be able to make it drizzle for a few minutes. I don't know. But there is no real weather control, okay? God controls that. It says it so many times in the Bible, and if He gave them the control, then they could go punish who they want. It's just silly to believe that, okay? It's just silly. All right. So, being an Old Testament, New Testament believing site, I'm going to do some praise. Let's see how many people leave. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right, let me kind of work out of the box. The best thing for Iran to do right now, and believe me, Israel and America are considering this, is to start launching, hundreds and hundreds of missiles all day and all night at Israel to try to disable Israel and cripple it before the attack comes. But they're afraid of Israel, and that's why they're not doing it. Strategically and tactically, that would be the best move, because they know an attack is coming and it's imminent. Okay? There's 6,000 Expeditionary Force Marines here with these small aircraft carrier vessels they use with vertical takeoff jets, a dozen, and a bunch of helicopters, and they can carry some tanks and stuff. They're in the area, 6,000. The Truman aircraft carrier group still is not here. It's on the way, and whatever that means. So it could be another 3-4 days. They're not talking, obviously. The Abraham Lincoln Aircraft Carrier Group is still here. Austin, the defense secretary, delayed its exit from the area by a month. Now, it probably is going to be here along with the Truman during the attack on Iran. One carrier will be located probably right outside the Persian Gulf at the Sea of Oman, and the other will be located someplace around Lebanon, Israel. Okay? The diplomatic people from numerous countries, a good list, have been evacuated out of Lebanon. I myself do not know what the status is as to how many flights are coming in and out of Beirut today or tomorrow, and I imagine it's down by 80-90%, if not 98%. I mean, there probably isn't much of anything. Diplomatic flights, military government flights, and I think that's it. There was fighting in Lebanon, I think, yesterday, and one Lebanese soldier got killed in the Israeli attack. I don't have the details. And the Lebanese army proper, not Hezbollah, returned fire to Israel. Now, before you go and say we're at war with the Lebanon army, look, some sergeant or lieutenant could have been with a platoon and he saw this happen and he didn't, blah, 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 fire back, fire back. Maybe he thought he was going to get killed, so he told him to fire back. That doesn't mean we're at war with them. It's an indication that something could develop, but let's not jump the gun on that one, okay? The Lebanese government and the Lebanese army are cowardly, and they could threaten to join Hezbollah in the attack against Israel, which they did do. I think a foreign minister or somebody did it, but it's one thing to go flap your jaws, it's another thing to go and do it, okay? 1 million people have left Lebanon so far, and a lot of them are in Iraq. They're not going into Syria because Hezbollah is well hated by a lot of people in Syria, not all of them, but they're going into Turkey too, I understand. And Erdogan doesn't like that, but Erdogan doesn't get what he wants. Israel is currently getting a lot of gasoline, oil from Azerbaijan via Turkey, and Erdogan may shut that off. In the event that happens, people are talking Israel will find another way. Don't even think about it. All right. Let me give you the most recent red line that Iran crossed yesterday, I believe. And I want you to understand, I'm going to discuss the full implications of this so you really get it. Okay? And you're going to understand why America and quite possibly NATO are going to be attacking Iran with Israel. Iran said if they get attacked, now there's different versions, if we get attacked here or we get attacked there. Basically, if we get attacked, we're going to attack the oil refineries of the countries in the Middle East. And they mentioned Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, I believe UAE, and Jordan. So they're basically going to probably attack Oman too. They're going to attack the whole gamut, okay? They're not going to attack Syria, they're not going to attack Iraq, they won't attack Turkey, and they won't attack Yemen, and they won't attack Lebanon, and they, at this point, won't attack Egypt, okay? That's what they said, and it was an official announcement, public. The first question we have to ask ourselves is, can Iran deliver? Well, the reality of what happened the other day is Iran launched 400 missiles. 180 made it towards Israel. America, Jordan, and other countries who don't want to step forward shot these missiles down. And then Israel shot them down. Did they hit the Netim Air Base? They hit the Netim Air Base. The Muslims are running around saying that they destroyed aircraft. I do not believe that to be true. There is no documentation of it, and all Israel has to do, they knew the attack was coming, move the aircraft, Cyprus, other places. We have underground hangars they could go in, more than one, never mind where they are, and they could just put them up in the air. Just go fly around for a few hours. Go out over the Mediterranean 4 or 5 miles or something like that, or 20 miles, I don't know, They could go just go fly around, right? Maybe they told them to go fly around, and if you see drones coming, try to shoot the drones down. If you see cruise missiles, try to shoot them down. They can shoot cruise missiles down from an aircraft. It's a slow mover. So the Iranians tried and it didn't work too well. What happened at the air base is there was some hits in open spaces. They hit a hangar. I think they hit another storage building or something. And I don't believe, damaged anything substantial. And I don't think the runway was hit. Look, if you hit a runway, it takes Israel hours to fix the runway. That's it. It's no biggie, okay? And they didn't hit the control tower, they didn't hit the radar and stuff like that. But we ascertained from this last attack with their ballistic missiles, which the Israeli government says were not hypersonic. Now, we got a fork in the road here. We can believe the Israeli IDF when they said they're not hypersonic, and I believe them. The other thing we could say is, oh, some of them were hypersonic. The first wave, the first ones that got here were probably hypersonic. Well, okay, want to go with that? Fine, that means we could take down hypersonic missiles, which the same people telling you they launched hypersonic missiles will also tell you we can't take them down. Yet, we did. Okay? All right. There's a lot of Israel haters paid by these Muslim terrorist entities, and they are out there broadcasting all the time how potent they are and how badly Israel is damaged. Like, I don't know how many times the Houthis have said that the Haifa was hit in the port, and yet 750,000 people live in Haifa. You could see the port from the hills. You could drive by and there's no pictures of it. Nobody said it was hit. Nobody. It's ridiculous. Okay, it is. Israel did lose some troops. As soon as we entered Lebanon the other day on the ground, there were some booby traps that took 7 or 8 soldiers out, sadly. And then they set an ambush the day after that, and they took some of our guys out. But that's finished. Okay? They got us with an element of surprise. We analyzed the situation, briefed the soldiers what to look for, and that was the end of that. It doesn't happen anymore. We're advancing on the ground. And when Iran attacked us, it was when we entered Lebanon on the ground. They said it was a revenge for killing different political figures and, the Hamas guy in Tehran and stuff like that. It was because we entered Lebanon. We entered Lebanon. Okay. So, Iran is sitting there. They moved all their oil tankers out of their big port where they load the ships up. Iran is able to defeat the sanctions that America's put on it remarkably well, as is Russia. Okay? The SWIFT system is not operating in Iran and Russia, so they can't use, a lot of money exchange systems and things like that. But there's ways they get money in and out. The sanctions is a pipe dream, a myth. I mean, it's real, but the impact of it is not real. Okay? So, when Iran threatened to blow up the oil refineries in the other countries, that scared America badly, and that was the underlying fear that America has had with Iran for years, and I will explain. The idea between Iran, Russia, North Korea, and China is to break the back of America and Europe economically, like America did to China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia. Cuba, too. Venezuela, yeah. Another one of the dirty dogs is Nicaragua. But, all right. So their main plan, which is working, is BRICS. October 22nd to October 24th in Russia is the BRICS summit, where they're going to swear in new members or whatever they call it, and bring them into the fold. And they're going to introduce or bring out their blockchain digital currency system called BRICS Pay. That's what I believe they're calling it. It's a Bitcoin kind of a thing that they control. It's going to have backing, but soft. In other words, the countries that it's predominantly being used for BRIC members and affiliates to trade amongst each other using this currency, which America will, in their opinion, not be able to eavesdrop on, and not for sure not be able to impose sanctions on it. So it takes America off the throne. But let's go deeper. 159 countries have approached BRICS and said they're interested in using this system. And BRICS is more than happy, unless they're NATO or maybe the EU, but definitely you can't be NATO or America allied, they won't let you in, okay? So Japan won't get in, Taiwan won't get in, Canada won't get in, the EU probably won't get in, Australia won't get in, and so forth, okay? Now, the people in BRICS that sell oil are two monsters, which is Iran and Russia, natural gas and oil. And this is going to enable them to trade without sanctions or controls or America understanding what's going on. What America would have to do next to enforce the sanctions is sink the ships carrying the oil, which you probably would agree America's not in the mindset for doing that right now, okay? So the UAE is also in BRICS, and they'll also be doing this. So they'll be trading oil with countries that shouldn't be trading oil, and according to America and stuff like that. India and China are in BRICS. They're two monster consumers of oil and natural gas. And China and Russia are two monster suppliers. Now, their plan is probably to bring Saudi Arabia into the fold, because Saudi Arabia, perhaps 10 weeks ago, said they're no longer going to be selling oil denominated in dollars or euros. Okay? So when a country, let's say they want to get $1 billion worth of BRICS pay money, okay? What they do is they post, which is basically just done on, good faith word of mouth. They're going to say, okay, I'm pledging $1 billion worth of gold from my reserves is set aside, and it won't be sold. It's just being used to back the BRICS currency. But they're not putting it in the vaults in China or Russia. Nobody's going to do that right now. But they're opening it up not just to gold. It'll be also like oil, natural gas reserves, right? Wheat, rice, things like this. I don't know what else. Rubber, you got me. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Cattle, I don't know. They're going to announce it. But I understand that it's going to be pretty broad. So it's not just gold. So countries that have a lot of rice, a lot of wheat, will be able to pledge. It's commodity based, okay? It's still paper nonsense. It's got no value. It's nothing like holding physical gold or silver. It's just another machination and delirium, Okay. But it will defeat the sanctions, and these countries in there will prosper, and America will suffer. they're not just going to suffer on oil and natural gas. They're going to suffer on other products like, it'll be orange juice pulp, pork bellies, everything. This is going to be going through that. But a massive amount of oil. If Saudi Arabia joins in, which I'm sure they will, because they don't want to see the Houthis destroy their oil refineries again, which they did in the last year 2 times with missiles. So they'll go in. Jordan seems to have hooked their wagon to America for now, but you have to remember Jordan has 11.2 million, well, let's call them Palestinians, that are mad and angry and want to go help Gaza. So the king of Jordan, is really on the endangered species list. He's not extinct, but he's on the endangered species list. He could be gone. One morning you wake up and they burned his palace and that's the end of him. Okay? Now, after Iran threatened so what Iran is doing is just saying, listen, America, we run the Middle East. If we want to missile attack Israel, shut up and go home. You don't belong here. We run the Middle East. Okay, that's what they're telling Biden. And if you don't believe it and you provoke us, we're going to attack the oil refineries of these OPEC countries in the Middle East. And what's going to happen? The price of our oil and Russia's oil will be $200 a barrel. People will be paying $18 at the pump in America. Good luck with that, Biden. That's what the message is. People can't function in America. $200 a barrel is going to be about something like $15, $18 a gallon. Can it go to $200 a barrel? Of course, but like that. Could go higher. Almost overnight. Probably within 72 and 96 hours. They'd probably have to close the exchanges because they'd be so scared with the rising prices. But the exchanges in Russia, China, they would carry the transactions. So, yeah, they could do that. Does Iran have enough missiles and good enough missiles to do it? Yeah, but they're not alone. They're going to use the lunatic Houthis in Yemen, which will probably attack Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Oman, and they'll use Iraq and Syria militias to get Jordan, and they'll go after Kuwait, Bahrain. Qatar, I think, is in the camp of Iran. They'll leave them alone. But that's not so consequential in the UAE. Do they care about these other countries? No. Some of these countries just took down a lot of the missiles they were firing at Israel. They don't care. So the countries just went to Iran and said, Jordan didn't do it. I think Kuwait, Saudi, Bahrain, and UAE told Iran, we're going to remain neutral. If America attacks you, they're not using our country and our air bases to do it. Whoa, let's get into a reality check here. 5,000 American troops in Kuwait. Okay? Probably a little lesser amount in Bahrain. UAE is someplace around 4,000, I think. Jordan is probably 8,000 or 10,000. Okay? There's 43,000 troops in the Middle East now. Maybe there's 200 or 300 in Israel. I don't even see them, nor do anybody I know see them. Maybe 100 in Israel. There's nothing. Jordan and Saudi Arabia are saturated with American troops. Oman has some. So how do they go around and tell this to Iran with a straight face? They're desperate. Did they tell Did they tell Iran, we're neutral, we're telling the American troops and the American bases and aircraft and drones and missiles and anti-missile systems to leave our country immediately? No, they didn't say that. Is Iran stupid enough to believe that was a true statement from them? No. No. Does Iran have the capability to do this if they want to? Yes. Can you just rebuild oil refineries after they're hit? Sure. But if you hit them with one missile with a 60-pound warhead, maybe you're going to be down for a week, depending where it hits. But if you get hit with 11 or 12 missiles that got, 150-pound warheads, you're going to be down for a year. It's going to cause panic. The industries have to have oil to function. And they bid for it in the futures exchange for future delivery. And they'll run the price up so high because they figure it's better to have high-priced oil than no oil. Airlines, a trip from New York to Miami, I don't know what it is today, round trip, let's say $300, and go to, $550. People are still going to fly, A trip to Israel that used to roughly be $1,000, from round trip or something from America to Israel, will go up maybe $500. It's going to go up, but it's still going to be, people are still going to go out and buy things and do things. So they're trying to survive. Let me check on the live stream very quickly. So they're going to try to survive. And that's why they're going to pay the high prices. Iran, someone says they're being suicidal. They're psychotic. They believe their own lies, is what it is. This is not going to have time for Trump to come in and do anything about it. Trump comes in and does something about it about January 20th, if he wins. And then it's going to be long over, I'm afraid. Okay, so moving forward. This is a threat to destroy Europe and America. You cannot tell me how they would manage. And Iran, now you got to understand the war implications of what Iran just said. Because Russia and Iran are not blowing their own oil up, nor natural gas. So China will get all the oil and gas they want at sweetheart prices, okay, as would North Korea and Cuba, Belarus, Russia, and the few Russian allies they have, okay? They won't have any problems with oil. And that hurts in a big war because you need a lot of fuel. Your jets are flying all the time, your tanks are rolling, your ships are moving, your helicopters are buzzing around. You need fuel. That tells America they have no choice. Iran is declaring themselves king of the Middle East. If you don't listen to them, they're going to wipe you out. BRICS is designed to wipe America out, slowly. Okay, what Iran proposed with attacking the other countries is immediate. Okay, now can America help and knock down missiles coming to these countries? And yeah, can they get them all? I doubt it. And Iran could, we're told, could launch 100 missiles an hour for about 4 days. It's not hard to do. Will they also hit the ports and the piers where they load the oil onto the ships?
I'm gonna go. Mommy's outside. He was in the bedroom.
Okay. Yes. Will they hit the oil storage tanks near the ports? Yes. Will they hit ships at the port? Probably. Iran, China, Russia, North Korea are fighting for their lives. If not literally their lives, their economic life, because America is dead bent on controlling them. And they're just bleeding them dry with sanctions. It's a slow, steady hammer that keeps hammering them. Eventually they die. Government breaks down, revolution, and then America and NATO steps in and saves the day under their dominion. So they know that. And that's why you have sleeper agents in America. Trump said 20 million a long time ago, maybe 6-8 weeks ago. And that number rises every day. Every day. And China has 350,000 acres of land at the most. It may be half of that, but they got a lot. That's located adjacent to American military bases. Remember the guys that came and attacked the guard post at the Texas base some weeks ago? They came with a car, they shot it up, they drove away. They never found the car. Now, I used to work in law enforcement when I was young. Let me tell you what happened. The MPs or the Department of Defense police that were at the guard post, I don't know which one it was, it could be both even, they have mutual defense treaties with the sheriffs and the police and the state police. They got communications. They got on the horn with them and told them what happened, gave them a description of the car. They never found them. Now, there's a lot of explanations. They could have put the car in a garage someplace where one of them lived. It's possible. They also could have come from some of this Chinese-owned land next to and nearby the base. And they drove back onto this land and hid the car in a building. They were feeling really good about what they did. They may not have known they didn't kill anybody at that time. About 3 hours later, the same night, they came back and they did it again. Now, I'm telling you, only Muslims would do that. Chinese or Russian agents are not idiots. You don't go back a second time. There's no point. You probed them, and so they came back a second time with the same car. And they got away a second time. No witnesses. If they had a garage a couple miles away, the car probably would have been seen. It would have come up on traffic cams. Patrolmen out at night. When you're patrolling at night, it's free and easy. You don't have traffic to worry about. You don't have kids coming and going from school. You don't have a lot of sick and old people running around trying to go get food and drugstore and doctors, and you just buzz around the streets and you could see a lot. It's easy, you know, to spot a car in the middle of the night. And we're not talking New York City or Atlanta, Georgia, or, you know, it's not that heavily a populated place. And they didn't find the car. And I believe that it's because they have land very close to the base or next to the base, and they just scooted right back in. And I don't hear anything about the FBI raiding this land that China has next to the military bases and searching it or anything. Nothing. Do you? I don't hear anything. Has anybody shut down the flow of these illegals? No. Everybody says 70% of them are military-age males. They're sleeper agents from all kinds of countries. You got Hezbollah, you got Hamas, you got ISIS, you got all of these crazy terrorists are up there. Al Fatah, Taliban, whatever. You got them. You've been invaded already. Trump said 20 million. Let's cut it in half. Say 10 million. 70% is 7 million sleeper agents. For crying out loud, if they had 700,000 sleeper agents, it's enough. How many soldiers do you think America keeps in the United States with all of the, maybe 3, 4, 500,000? Not that many. Now, does Iran have sleeper agents in America? Well, does a bear poop in the woods? When Iran threatens in the media, they're not going to go out there and say, I'm going to launch my, 133,000 sleeper agents in America and see how you like that, America. Because every American will go nuts. They'll take, if Biden doesn't act, they'll take matters into their own hands. And the sleeper agents will prove to be useless. Congress will start, if Biden doesn't stop it, we'll impeach him, all of this stuff will go on. And they know that. You got to ask yourself, what are Biden's real motives here? Don't pay much attention to his words, because he's trying to convince people he cut the illegal immigration down. What you got to do is ask yourself by his actions, what do his actions tell you, letting these people come in freely? That's a question for you to answer. What do you think it means? They're all liars, all the political leaders around the world. It just, you've got to ask yourself, what does it mean? What is Biden up to? Ask yourself. Is it good for America? Why? Why is he doing it? So if America backs down from Iran now, the way the Middle East works is Iran will smell more fear in America, and they're just going to keep pressuring, like Saudi Arabia got pressured. Don't sell any more oil in dollars or euros, or we'll blow your refineries up, which they did twice in the last year or so. Saudi agreed. UAE, Saudi's brother, friends, they joined BRICS. They're in. All Iran has to do is convince these people to join BRICS and only trade oil through BRICS, which NATO, the EU, and America cannot do. And they've accomplished their goal. They would ruin the economy of America and Europe. Remember, it's not just oil and gas, it's, food and stuff. commodities. It could be steel, it could be rubber, aluminum, bauxite, lots of things. Follow the money trail. You think America's not concerned? Okay, so America now has 4 squadrons. A squadron is circa 25 planes that they're admitting to in the Middle East. They are consisting of F-22s, F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, and A-10, what do they call those things? Warthogs, A-10 Warthogs. An A-10 Warthog is a very dangerous weapon. It's a low-speed plane designed for ground attacks. It fires a very high-speed 20-millimeter cannon. And when the gun goes off, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like, you know. It's very fast and very dangerous and very lethal. The projectile, the standard projectile of the 20-millimeter is 1 pound. Oh, it's a big thing. The armored piercing can get through many tanks. Armored personnel carriers, they could fire at people in a building and decimate the building. You know, you could take a 50 cal if there's troops in a trench. You could dig the trench away. If you got enough ammo, which they usually do. So, there's about 12 warships from America in the Middle East theater now. And they flew 2 sub-hunter planes from Jacksonville, Florida last night, or during the afternoon or something, to the Middle East. Now, I don't know whose subs they're hunting. Ask yourself, I don't know. America is probably afraid Russia's going to do something with subs, or Iran. But Iran has junky subs, but still, I guess you need to know where they are. Now we need to look at what's the attack on Iran going to look like. Well, Biden just released a statement yesterday that he's pondering attacking Iran oil and gas industries. Now, let me teach you to think like a logistic, a military logics guy, okay? Strategy. All right. If you attack the Iranian nuclear facilities, or you attack the Iranian ports and piers and oil refineries, what are you going to get? You're going to get a massive barrage of missiles coming at Israel, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, at their refineries, at their military, everything like that, right? So what did you actually accomplish? Not much. Can you do a ground invasion of Iran? Ah, forget it. They can't. America's in no position to do that. When they went into Iraq, they had over 1 million soldiers, 6 aircraft carrier groups in the area. Let's assume Iran is 3-4 times bigger and better than Iraq, maybe 5 times. They need an army of about, I would say, 2 million. Probably 600 or 800 aircraft, 4 or 5 at least aircraft carrier groups, 50 or 60 vessels that can launch missiles, probably 3,500 tanks. No, they're not doing it. And it would take them a year, probably, maybe more. It's full of caves and mountainous regions, and they'd be all dug in. It'd be ridiculous. They're not going to do it. America and Israel doesn't care how many Iranians are running around in Iran with tanks, armored personnel carriers, artillery pieces, AK-47s, grenade launchers. Who cares? Their aircraft are no good. They get destroyed. They don't have that many, but they're no good. They're very old. So what are they worried about? Well, they're worried about the missiles, and they're worried about the drones, and they're worried about their ships, because they took commercial vessels, I think container ships, and they cleared everything off the decks of the boats and put large amounts of missile launchers. If you got a 600-foot boat, you could put, that's like 70, 80 feet wide or something. You can put a whole lot of missile launchers on the deck and then fill the interior of the boat with a lot of missiles. And drones. Those gotta go. The go-fast boats gotta go. They got over 1,500. And they can destroy ships. They're suicide boats. They're 60, 80, 90 feet. They got different kinds. They can launch torpedoes from off the deck of the boat. They got a machine gun. They could put 20 millimeter machine guns on there, which would be very damaging to ships. With armor-piercing rounds, they would do pretty bad damage to the ship with penetration. With just regular full metal jacket, they could do tremendous damage to a ship. And they can carry RPGs, which could damage a ship. So that's a problem. So Iran is generally a pain in the neck. What Iran did was not follow the rules of modern warfare. They didn't build up a navy, and they didn't build up an air force. The idiots built up a huge amount of missiles, which enables them to threaten the immediate area. But they can't deliver into Europe or America. And Europe and America have great aircraft that could come deliver into them every day. Hi, we're here. Boom, 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 all day long. So that was a bomb. More. Iron Dome, I think. But air explosions are not hitting the ground. Do you hear it? I think you hear it. No, that was coming from our friends, probably in Lebanon. So one of the messages Iran is sending to Israel is, our proxy Hezbollah attacks you every day. Suck it up, you're a bunch of stupid Jews. You don't like it, now you invade Lebanon, we'll just keep raining missiles down on you. The smartest thing that Iran could do today would be to start launching missiles nonstop at Israel and every American warship and every American base in the Middle East and hope to destroy them. That'd be their smartest move. Will they do it? No. They're not right in the head. They're not balanced. Okay? They're lunatics. And they're bullies. So I don't think anything's going to go down till the Truman aircraft carrier gets into theater. Then they'll have two of them, which will make America feel better. Now, Israel has a missile called the Jericho 3. It's a ballistic missile that could carry a big payload. And it'll hit Iran. And it's accurate. We found the Iranian missiles are accurate to within a half a mile. Rough cut, they're accurate within 2,500 feet. Rough cut, they're accurate within 10 city blocks. It's pretty hard to become a very, very effective in war when your missiles are effective within a half a mile. That's why you saw a lot of missiles, when they shot them in Tel Aviv, were landing in the Mediterranean, off the coast of Tel Aviv. And we didn't bother shooting them down because we knew they were landing in the water. Now, Israeli missiles are probably accurate, I would guess, within 10 or 20 yards. Probably 10. Last night or yesterday afternoon, Ukraine took out a Russian S-400, not a 300 or 400, anti-missile radar setup they had. Ukraine blew it up with a drone, I think. So these missile systems Iran has a few of. Mostly they got the junkier S-300, the predecessor, which is even worse. So if Ukraine could not only bypass the S-400 system, but blow it up, what do you think Israel could do to those? And that's the best radar Iran has. Now, I know 30-something years ago when I was in Israel working on a kibbutz, my immediate boss was a fighter pilot in the Air Force that was in reserves, and the chairman of the board, who I spent a lot of time with, I was the key personnel there, was a brigadier colonel running a secret missile base in Israel. This is decades ago. Secret missile base. Very few people know where they are. They're disguised, apparently. They could look like the kibbutz, a mashav, anything. Agricultural land. And when the time comes, barrages of missiles take off. Iran's not going to shoot them down. They don't have the capability. So, that's one way Israel could do it. Another way, now we're going to probably see a combo attack, okay? Another way is with drones. Yeah, we got plenty of drones, no problem. We got drones coming and going, okay? We relocate the drones someplace where we want them to be. Could be on ships or whatever. And launch them. Now, can we take out their radar with drones? Well, Ukraine did it yesterday. What do you think? So we start attacking their S-300s and their S-400s, right? with drones. They're gone. Right? Now Iran's sitting out there in the breeze naked. Does that put us in a position to negotiate with them? No. You can't go to a hospital for the criminally insane, people that are not fit to stand trial, and work with them and negotiate with them. They're nuts, and that's the leaders of Iran. Believe me, nothing less. Look back to Hitler and Mussolini. What is it? The same thing. Stalin. That idiot killed 40-something million people. They're paranoid delusional systems, you know. You don't negotiate with a man. Because 2-3 days later they'll say, oh, they stabbed me in the back, they promised this, they did that. You know, just get paranoid and start over again. You can't negotiate with them. They would take the Jews, Iran would take the Jews, Israelis, put them in an arena or a soccer stadium, burn them alive in front of crowds, cut their heads off, cut fetuses out of babies. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. They would call it a celebration. And I'm not exaggerating. That's the way it went on October 7th. No doubt about it. So now we got drones, we got Jericho 3 missiles, and now we have stealth F-35s coming in to pave the way for F-15s. Israel had 7 aerial refuelers, and some weeks ago America gave us 9. That's probably enough to supply 40 or 50 planes on a maneuver to Iran without getting help from America and other countries, which we would get. Would that enable us, let's say we put 50 planes, would that enable us to disable the launch capabilities of Iran? No. No. Biden's endorsing the Israeli attack. Biden's people know that if we attack the nuclear facilities, all it's going to cause is massive missile barrages, likely at other countries in the Middle East, which are not Jews, so he cares about them. And it would be a disaster. If we hit their oil and gas industry, it'll spike oil prices quite high. Nothing like, they go up $15, $20 a barrel. You go up maybe 75 cents at the pump, something like that, $1 maximum. No, nothing that can't be handled. But it doesn't stop them from launching missiles. If the refineries and the ports in Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Jordan, Oman, and Saudi Arabia go, that's big trouble for America. Big, massive trouble. So it's nice to hit the nuclear facilities, it's nice to hit the ports and the refineries. But another red line that Iran crossed is they gave Russia like 15,000 drones a while back to use in Ukraine. Biden was pulling his hair out. And then recently, some weeks ago, Iran gave Russia medium-range missiles to use in Iran. Now, this causes NATO, America, and NATO countries to have to keep dumping more and more billions of dollars of weapons and aid into Ukraine because it gives Russia a lifeline to stay in the fight longer. So this was another red line that Iran crossed that they can't stand. So the BRICS is a red line, threatening the countries in the Middle East is a red line, giving weapons to Russia is a red line, and attacking Israel is sort of a red line. It's a soft red line with America. I mean, they're just Jews. Nobody cares, you know. Nobody's protecting Israel right now except America, and that's because we're their proxy. Iran and Russia and BRICS is life-threatening to America economically. And Israel is their boy. Okay. They tried to save Gaza. They didn't want us to wipe out Gaza, right? They let us attack the Houthis. They're really another red line Iran crossed is giving the Houthis missiles, and the Houthis shot an oil tanker yesterday. Yep. A drone, I believe, not a missile. It was a drone. They hit an oil tanker again. So, you know, people in Europe, all over the world, are rather sick and tired of the Houthis closing the Red Sea. The Houthis are Yemen. They're Yemen controlled. So, Iran controlled, rather. So, Iran is out there telling everybody, we run the Middle East. The Red Sea is ours. A massive amount of Egypt's gross national product, the money coming in, is from toll revenues in the Suez Canal, which is where the Red Sea goes to the Mediterranean, and they're losing that revenue. So Iran doesn't give a hoot about other Arab countries. They want to be the king. You have to understand something about Islam. The way Islam thrives is like with the Ottoman Empire. Basically, they have a caliphate, which according to Iran would be the whole Middle East, with them in control. And Khomeini, the psychopath over there, would be called the Caliph. The Caliph is a 50% religious leader, 50% political military leader. That's what Khomeini is in Iran. The elected president doesn't have anywhere near the power of Khomeini. Okay. And that's what Iran is trying to set up and fund it with oil. So they could just sit there and have 17 million missiles and, you know, just become a conqueror and then go take over the whole world. And that's what they're doing. And you don't pick this up in the media because they don't want to scare the people. But that's what it is. It is what it is, and that's what it is. Turkey is a little bit competitive with Iran in that they want to be the Ottoman Empire revised again, and they want, you know, Erdogan would want to be the Caliph. But Iran is way ahead of the game compared to Erdogan. Now, what other countries would do that are Muslim, like Indonesia and stuff, I don't know. They would probably try to stay out of the caliphate, but friendly to the caliphate. That's all I can think of, you know. So that's the story with Iran, and that's why Iran's going to get hit by America. And I mean, you have to leave room that America could surreptitiously attack Iran and make it look like it's Israel. Okay? B-1, B-2 bombers, F-22s, F-35s. They don't know who it is. They don't know what it is. You think Iran can't make an F-22 that Israel... I'm sorry. America could easily make an F-22 appear to the Iranian radar as an Israeli F-35, but they can't even pick the F-35s up very well. They know where the plane is within 25 miles, but do they really know it's an F-35, not an F-22? I don't have enough knowledge of Iran to answer that, but I would expect that America could certainly do something to confuse the daylights out of them so they wouldn't know what the heck was happening. Okay. I don't think we're going to see anything shake down till the aircraft carrier Truman is here. Now, I don't know where it is. They're not talking. It could be at Cyprus, but I don't think so. We attacked the Russian air base in Latakia, Syria yesterday, but the damage was a warehouse. An Iranian jet came in an hour before with weapons for Lebanon, for Hezbollah, and we blew it up. And Russia's mad. What's Russia going to do? Go to war with Israel over a blown-up warehouse of Iranian weapons? Please, he doesn't care that much about it. He's got enough trouble in Europe. He doesn't want to have to expand his war into the Middle East. It'll weaken him too much. I don't think he could take it. That's what Iran's job is. So he's not going to come here and do Iran's job. That being in mind, he may give Iran's to pay Israel back. He might give Iran some more advanced weapons. And then, before this is over, I believe Israel will destroy not only the Russian air base in Latakia, but maybe 3-4 miles away is the Russian Navy base in Latakia on the Mediterranean. Israel will blow that up, or America will. They want to get rid of that because in the event of a fight with Russia, that's the only base, Navy base, Russia has in the Mediterranean right now. They're building something in Sudan, or South Sudan, I think Sudan, I know, one of the two. But that's in the Red Sea, and that's not close enough. So, that'll go. That'll go. And Putin moved most of his forces out of these two bases because of the Ukraine war, so there's very little of anything there. Now, we also have to take into account that Israel might be able to play the card with blowing up walkie-talkies and pagers and cell phones in Iran. I do not think that they went into factories and planted explosives into these devices, because what was exploding when it went down was pagers, then walkie-talkies, cell phones, and fingerprint scanners to get into secure buildings. And we heard about some ovens and dishwashers that were connected to the internet, so people could turn them on, you know, via the internet when they're at work or away from home. And they went. So, Israel didn't buy factories for all these devices and put bombs in them. And the bombs, I've covered this so many times, the bomb, they said that it was used as a very heat-sensitive bomb. So how do you put the bomb in a device with a lithium battery that needs to be charged all the time, creating a lot of heat in the device? It would deactivate the explosive. It wasn't explosives. They found a way to make the devices blow up. There was a 4-second delay. If it was an explosive, the delay would have been maybe a second. It was enough time for people to hear the thing go and then take it out of their pocket and hold it up to look at it and then put their faces up. So that's another trick that Israel could pull. And I don't know what else Israel would do. I don't know. The pages and the walkie-talkies were completely unexpected. So we don't know what they're going to do. And don't think Israel hasn't thought about this for years. They have. They have. But now America's in. Don't think America's not in. They're in. I don't think Israel, with my logic, is they got to take out the missile launching and drone launching facilities to make this a successful effort. And I don't think Israel could muster enough planes up in the air. I think they would probably need at least 100 planes, maybe 150 or 200. And then they could make a serious dent in it. Now, mind you, I don't think anything America and Israel are going to be able to launch is going to take out 100% of their missile capability on a long-range basis. They might get half. And there's still going to be repercussions from what's left. Because these are not the kind of people that are going to wake up, smell the flowers, and say, okay, I better cut this out. Let me start talking to America and let's see if we can work something out, you know. They won't do that. They threaten everybody. They've been threatening America for years. They call America the big Satan. They say we're going to get the little Satan Israel, we're going to get the big Satan America. They say we're going to get the Saturday people, then we're going to get the Sunday people. If you're wondering, they're the Thursday people. That's their holiday day, their holy Muslim Shabbat thing. Let me go in the live stream here, see if we're getting questions or anything like that. When they say 1967 U.S. Liberty, that's the ship that Israel supposedly attacked back then, and they are doing that to create hatred towards Israel. So that's a hater. Europe is worried that Iran would hit the pipelines, Tate run trough, that run through, I guess he means run through Afghanistan. Yeah, that's a logical conclusion, I believe. North Korea has got 200 missiles aimed at South Korea. They've recently put them up on the border. They're not so quiet. I was just commenting that there's not any realistic chance of anybody doing a ground invasion in Iran. and for that matter, Yemen. Oh, they left a lot of stuff in Afghanistan. The Afghanistans may go after. They may join in the fight against Iran too. They don't like them at all. Bloodthirsty old boomer wants to spoil young blood. Well, if you don't like old people, I suggest you pray that God kills you when you're young. How about that? Did you ever think about that, genius? And I teach Bible prophecy, and these are the prophecies. And I'm going to cover the prophecies again in a couple of moments. That's what I do. You people that don't know God aren't going to make it. You've got maybe weeks, months, maybe a few. You're not going to be around. Most of you. Yeah, Iran building more launch pads. They got them underground, overground, you know. I think we get a lot of children in here that just like to go in and insult. One of the things they don't understand is when they put up nasty comments, and they get blocked. I could be wrong about this, but I do believe that if YouTube keeps seeing them getting blocked, they might not let them post in chats for a few months. Now that might need to be, you have to report them. I don't know. I don't waste my time with them. They're, you know, confused people that, you know, just like to go around. What kind of a mindset likes to go around and just insult people they never knew before, just to be insulting them? You know, it's a little silly. So, there's going to be an attack on Iran, and the only kind of an attack makes sense is to knock out as much of their offensive capability, and Biden definitely wants to see missile warehouses, drone and missile manufacturing factories destroyed, so they can't keep funneling weapons into Russia. Right. So, in Bible prophecy, does Iran get destroyed, not attacked? Destroyed. Yes, in unfulfilled Bible prophecy. I read this every day now because it's so important. And the churches are not woke up to this yet, or they don't want to teach it. But we go to Jeremiah 49, verse 34. The word of Jehovah that came to Jeremiah the prophet, and the word for prophet is Nevi, Nevim is prophets, against Elam. Elam is the name of a country that existed in the past around this time that consisted of parts of Iran, Iraq, and Syria. There is no more Elam today, but there really is, because Syria and Iraq are proxy states of Iran. So Elam would be Iran. Elam is Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Sorry, Iraq, Syria, and Iran would be Elam. in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, saying, well, this is when the prophecy was given, not when the prophecy is timed to take place. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Now, what does a bow do? It shoots an arrow. You take it out of your quiver and you shoot it. How would you describe a missile launcher and a missile that didn't exist back then? You would call the missile launcher the bow and the missile the arrow. What is the chief might of Iran? Their missiles. Their missiles. So it says their missile launchers are going to go. Their missiles are probably mostly buried underground. It's the launches that need to be accessible on the surface or in trenches, you know. And upon Elam will I bring the four winds. Now that word for winds is correct, it's ruach. From the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards those winds, and there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life. I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith Jehovah, and I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to rule from Elam. It's the judgment seat, the throne. He's going to judge Elam, is what he's saying. And will destroy from hence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. All right. And then in the future, they make a comeback, which is Gog and Magog. You read Persia's there. So they're going to get so busted up that the people are going to leave and get scattered to all the different nations in the world. It's Iraq, Syria. Remember, those have been the ones attacking Israel and attacking the American bases and consulate. Okay? Iran, Iraq, and Syria are going to get so busted up. The people are going to have to leave and go amongst the nations of the world, and the Lord's going to send a sword after them until they all get consumed. Now, that's what they want for Israel. They want to run the Jews out of the land of Israel, scatter us amongst the nations, and then with the anti-Semitic, campaigns these pro-Palestinians produce, we would be slaughtered in the nations. So they reap what they sow. We're in the year of recompenses. Okay? Believe it or not. And what does that mean? Isaiah 34, and I know that churches don't teach this, but I do. Verse 1, 34:1 in Isaiah. Come near, you heathen, to hear and hearken, you people of the earth. Hear all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Jehovah is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. Now, I'm going to be developing this a little further in a moment, but all the armies of these nations are going to be killing each other. You are going to see World War III. You are going to see North Korea hit South Korea, China fighting with Japan and Taiwan and Philippines and NATO and America. And you'll see fighting in Europe and everything. It's going to spread to other continents too. You're going to see it. Okay? That's that. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled. Now this is taking us all the way to Gog and Magog. This is the end of Gog and Magog. Shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from a fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, Jordan, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. I believe that would be Yemen, which is Edom, and also South Jordan, Moab. The sword of Jehovah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Jehovah hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and that I believe is Jordan, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls. And their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. Now pay attention. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Controversy is strife or fighting or arguing. More like strife, That's why all this is going to happen like at Olympic. Would you see in the chat several people said I was Mossad or some other, I'm not. But they said that. Okay, see, these are people that have been trained to be very suspicious of a Jew. Okay, that's why they're saying that. And the nations that go to church and all this stuff, and they say, they're believers and stuff, they have no use for Jews. That's why I told you that story earlier. They come to Israel and they find somebody from their own country that set himself up here as some minister of the gospel, And they come and visit that person and they're so happy. Oh, I can come from Finland and I don't have to listen to some Jewish preacher. I got a Finland guy I can listen to. And here they throw money at the guy, see? That's the way it works. Okay? I have never seen one denomination ever come out and say they stand next to Israel. Have you seen any of these TBN and other big broadcasting Christian networks tell the people, call your politicians, your congressmen on the phone and tell them to tell Biden to help Israel, give them the weapons, stop holding them back? No. They go pray for Israel. Who hears their prayers? They don't do anything like that. Now what this stuff's going to do is it's going to provoke Zechariah 12. But I believe there's a piece of the puzzle missing for Zechariah 12. 2 pieces, actually. Yes, 2 pieces. And I'm going to explain to you how they fit into it in a moment. And these 2 pieces are the 2 witnesses. And I'm going to show you how you could expect them to be working in Israel openly this week, next week, week after. Yes, I know the church talks about them only in the tribulation, but I will show you the scriptures in your own Bible, and then you need to decide do you want to believe your Bible or believe the guy with the building in the church. I'll be right back. For some of you people that have been with me a long time, what I'm going to do in a moment is going to give you maybe some new insights into this with Elijah and Apostle John. Okay, Elijah and Apostle John are the two witnesses. It's elected unto man to die only once is the scripture. Okay? King David died. He's not coming back to life. That references an anointed prince in the next temple, which you could read about in Ezekiel 45 and 46 even, I think. It's all over the place. And that's the anointed one that gets killed in Daniel 9. Okay? In Daniel 9:24, it says 70 weeks in the English translations. In every single Hebrew manuscript I ever found, going back to 900 AD, every single one of them, it says Shavim. That's 2 70s. Only the English translations write this to be 70 weeks. The word for weeks is nothing like 70. Shavim means 70, so there's 2 70s on the people. The first 70 was the Babylonian captivity, which Daniel was in. Okay? The second 70 hasn't started yet. It begins with the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds, which is not his return to earth. You could read that in Matthew 24:30. Okay? But the next battle is not Gog and Magog. The battle's any day. I mean, it's coming real fast, okay? What do you read in Ezekiel 38? Israel is living without bars and walls in peace and safety. Any psychotic that teaches you this is for now, is a nut, okay? Then it goes a couple of lines down. It says they come to take a great spoil. Cattle, silver, and gold, and riches and stuff. Well, people in Israel are poor. The economy's busted out. It would take years. Forget that, okay? It is not for now, okay? It happens at the time of the tribulation, which is at the close of the second 70, which is 60-something years or so from now. I know I just threw a lot at you, but I've got a lot of videos on YouTube. They're in the live section, not the video section. And fast forward through the news and watch the Bible studies. Now, before I go into this other thing, I just want to show you something else. Because now you know there's a day of vengeance and a year of recompenses, right? Okay, let me show you there's a day of vengeance and a year of redemption. Okay? Because the church won't ever talk about this. Isaiah 63:4. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. That's the year of redemption. And the day of vengeance is associated with both recompense and redemption. So there's an overlap. And that overlap is the day of vengeance. And that's when the daughter of Babylon gets it, in my opinion. Maybe the daughter of Babylon is not in this, but I think it is. I can't give you a written guarantee, but I'm rather sure. But I could be wrong on that one, because it's got its own thing. It's its own category. But now you know there's a day of vengeance associated with year of redemption and year of recompenses, and your church has never talked to you about this. Yet, there it is right in your own Bible. So don't blame me for what the church didn't do. Ask yourself, why are all these churches not teaching this? I don't know any church that teaches this. I've never heard them teach it. Yet, here it is. It's also in Isaiah 61. I'll read it to you. It starts off in verse 1. The Spirit of Adonai Yehovah is upon me, because Yehovah hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. he had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. This is obviously Yeshua. He even read the scripture in the synagogue when he was on earth. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, and they might be called trees of righteousness. Oh, my people's days shall be like that of a tree. Oh, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. All right. Now, there's a lot here that a lot of you don't know. Okay, a lot of the people have been with me a long time know. So the acceptable year of the Lord is a pleasant, pleasing year. It's a Jubilee year. It's called Yovel in Hebrew. It's Jubilee in English for some reason. And Yovel means return to your family or your inheritance. One of those, I forgot. I'm sorry. And that's what a redemption year is, a Jubilee year. You reunited with your family if you sold yourself off to be a servant, and you get your land back if you hawked your land because you needed money. Okay? It goes back to you at the Jubilee year, the 50th year. So the year of redemption here, we can learn, is like an acceptable year, which would be a Jubilee year, which means that would start this coming February 2025, someplace, I would guess, between the 14th and the 21st, someplace in there. Notice we don't know the day of the hour, okay? Someplace, but we do know the season. So it appears to me that the year of redemption, which begins with the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds, would start on the next Jubilee year, which does follow the calendar. And that would be the year of redemption. That's my guess. Can I give you a written guarantee that it's going to start when we see the new moon sliver? No, because that would mean we know the day of the hour. It doesn't have to start that day. It could, but it doesn't have to. It could start I don't. What if it started a week into it or something? I don't know. It would work to me. Okay. These are the things they don't teach you. During the next 70 years, you have the great falling away towards the end, and that's when you get the man of sin and the abomination of desolation and all of that stuff. What you're at today is you're coming up on Zechariah 12, but we'll take a quick look through Zechariah 12, and then I'm going to show you what provokes Zechariah 12, which doesn't appear to be. It appears the destruction of Elam and Lebanon and Gaza and Yemen and maybe others is going to be pretty soon. Days, a few weeks. And then we'll see Zechariah 12 develop better. But, Egypt and Turkey should also be biting the bullet too. All right, based on prophecy. Zechariah 12:1. Now, the whole world future is based on this. Now, I just want to go back and read one thing to you, sort of make you think how serious this is. Jeremiah 30:11 is tied in with the birth pangs and the travail. The birth of the nation, which definitely was not 1948 when the satanic view ended. It's when they see Yeshua and they get changed, and we'll show you that. Jeremiah 30:11. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee. And the word for save is Yasha, to salvation thee. Yahshua or Yeshua means giver of salvation or source of salvation. All right, to Yashu, save you, salvation you, not save, like salvation would be better. Hebrew doesn't go into English very smoothly. Though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. But remember, we just read he destroys all their armies. Israel's army will be destroyed too. And he makes a full end of all the nations. Does he kill everybody? No. He wrecks these governments because they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-Israel, and they're anti-God, and they're disgusting, and they're built up on Satan. They were built and established and flourished under Satan's dominion for about 2,000 years. I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Do you think Israel is not learning a lesson, having missiles come in all the time and the bomb shelter stuff going? Of course they are. But the 180 missiles at Israel the other day, and the only person that got killed was a Muslim from the West Bank that happened to be in Jericho. That would be like Israel shooting 180 missiles into Iran, and no Iranian gets killed, except one Israeli that happened to be visiting there got killed. That's how crazy that sounds. So if you think God's not with Israel, you should think again. And if you're against Israel, you're against God, the controversy of Zion. Why was Yeshua not born in Kansas or Tokyo or Berlin or London? You're on the wrong side of the fence. You cannot be in Yeshua without being in Israel. He's the king of Israel. He's the high priest of the order of Melchizedek. He comes from the line of Judah, which is Judah in Hebrew, which is Yehudim, is the word that Jude comes from, because they make the Yud sound into a J. So he's a Jew, and he calls the believers his brethren. So if you hate the Jews, you hate Yeshua. Now you hate your brethren. Now you're going to tell me you're in the face. How? It says all Israel shall be saved. Where's it say all the churches shall be saved? Yeshua says he'll come back for a church without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. You ever visit a church that doesn't have spots, wrinkles, and blemishes all over the place? Oh, but we're not perfect. Why should the church be perfect? Because Yeshua said he's coming back for a church without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. Is that a good reason? Okay. Now I'm going to open this up for you so you'll see it. Oh, here comes the Stan Lee stuff again. See, Stan Lee, I was told by a subscriber, writes, I think it's Marvel comic books, so they're saying I'm a fiction writer. But does this character know anything in the Bible? No. They love making fun of old people, don't they? They should really pray that God kills them before they're old, you know. God's name is not Yahuwah. Why? Because you said so. And you put this old ancient Hebrew stuff up from some character that sells a book. And his whole idea of getting the whole Hebrew language, by the way, was off of a stone that had about this much text on it. He's another con man, that guy. You bought his books or something? I did too once. MI CIA. See, they don't trust Jews. You know? How can you trust Yeshua? He's a Jew. Wake up. Wake up. All right. Zechariah 12. This is your next war in Israel. The burden of the word of Jehovah for Israel, saith Jehovah, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundations of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling. Now, trembling is you're so fearful. And in Zechariah 30, where it says he's going to wipe all the nations out, maybe 3-4 verses before that, he says that every man's going to be clutching their stomach and their faces are going to turn pale because of the fear. And then the church will tell you, oh, the man of sin's going to come in peace and safety. Unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. A siege is not an invasion, it's a surrounding, and you might attack from the surrounding, like Lebanon is doing, and Gaza is doing, and Syria is doing, and Iraq is doing, and if we stretch it, we could say what Iran is doing. But they're pretty far away. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it will be cut in pieces. That would translate perhaps as lacerated. Cut in pieces is rather fatal. Remember, they were dealing in that day with swords. Cut in pieces is, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. So the word for people here is heathen, ungodly, heathen, of the earth. The word for earth is ha'eretz. It can mean the land of Israel, and it can mean the earth, and probably means the earth. In that day, saith Jehovah, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. Now remember, if all the armies were destroyed, then the tanks are gone, right? And they could be down to riding horses, And his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah. That means he turned his face towards the house of Judah. That's the Jews, guys, the ones you dislike, And I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors, the word is chiefs, it's better stated as judges. The judges of Judah shall say in their heart, it's funny translated here. I don't think they were really trying to twist it, they just didn't understand it. The inhabitants of Jerusalem will say their strength is in the Lord of hosts, their God. It's not the judges saying it, it's the people saying it. So there's a revival, if you will, in Jerusalem at that time. In that day will I make the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour, the word would be better translated burn up. They shall burn up all the people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall remain still, inhabited in her own place, even in Jerusalem. They making you think the words mean Schofield, that Jerusalem's conquered and stuff. It's not. Okay. This bad translation. So Judah and Jerusalem, hundreds of miles of territory, hundreds and hundreds of miles, is surrounded in a siege, and the two people burn them up on the right hand and the left round about. Now, who do you know from Revelation 11 that has fire coming out of their mouth? That are prophets. The two witnesses, Elijah and Apostle John. This is not the tribulation. This is Jacob's trouble. It says in Jeremiah 30, great is Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Saved out of it. This is not destruction of Israel. This is the destruction of the heathen nations for being mean to Israel. All the nations he scattered the Israelites into over the centuries shall be destroyed. I make that to be a good 125 nations. Everything in Europe, everything. Much of the Middle East, Northern Africa plus South Africa. I think everybody in South America, Central America, and North America, and parts of Asia. It's huge. Parts of Asia, it's huge. He's not killing all the people, but those countries are going. All their armies are going to be destroyed. This is what they call the reset, but they don't know what it is. But Jehovah also shall save the tents of Judah first. That you could read that as saying the tents of the Yehudim, the Jews first, right? Or the tents of Judah. That's where the Jew word came from. It served the tents of Judah first. That the glory of, the Germans called them Yud, like Judah. Okay, the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall Jehovah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Now, that's probably not going to happen until the military of Israel is defunct, along with the other militaries. Because when God redeems Israel, everybody will know he did it. It's not going to look like any government or any army did it. He did it. If the two witnesses burn up millions of people surrounding Israel, they're going to certainly know God did it. When Israel no longer has the military, or maybe not exactly in precise timing, I don't know, the two witnesses will be defending Israel. Because God he's not going to send 700,000 angels. He doesn't have to. He's sending two guys, Elijah and Apostle John. Apostle John was standing there with the disciples when Yeshua said, "There be someone standing among you here today that shall not taste of death till they see the kingdom of God." Apostle John's still in Israel. I know you don't understand that. Nobody ever taught it to you. It doesn't say some standing here. It says someone. It means one person. And then in Revelation we read the angel tells John, "You shall prophesy again to many nations, many tongues." And he hasn't done that yet. And it says Elijah was going to come. You'll see that in a couple of minutes. So Elijah is Elijah. Elijah never died before. He went up in a whirlwind. The chariot from heaven came down. You could say the company car if you want to be cute. And he went up in a whirlwind. So he never died. Flesh and blood shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And he went up to heaven, so he got converted to a spiritual body and went up. Enoch, something like that happened also, but I see no reason to consider Enoch as one of the two witnesses. There's nothing pointing us in that direction. Melchizedek, his days were without number, but I see no reason why we should consider him either. Like I said, King David died. He can't die again. The two witnesses died and get raised from the dead. And John the Baptist died, and it can't be him. Moses died, it can't be him. So people that are teaching you, Moses is one and all that, and Enoch, they're very immature students of the Bible, or they're deceiving you. Well, let's keep reading on Zechariah 12:8. For in that day shall Jehovah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He that is feeble among them at that day, so you could call me feeble, old people, tottering, staggering, and all that, right? Among them at that day shall be as David. Well, David killed Goliath. He was a great warrior. He killed a bear and a lion. Now, how could old people do that if they're still like old people? They can't balance right. They can't walk fast. They have no strength. Their hearing, their vision, and all that. No. Obviously, they've changed. Let's keep reading. And the house of David shall be as Elohim, as the angel of the Lord before them. That was Michael, the warrior god of Israel, the angel that was with Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And he killed 150,000 people, roughly, in one day. Now, no person could do that, just a regular person. So the house of David becomes like that. But they don't teach you that. They don't want you to know that. They want you sitting there every Sunday writing checks. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations, it's all the heathen nations, that come against Jerusalem. Now, I don't believe Elam, Israel, Iraq, and Syria are going to have a chance. It doesn't look like Gaza's, although they're still remaining in Gaza, and they might still remain in Lebanon, I don't know. But for the future, maybe Yemen also, I don't know. I don't think so, though. Not with Yemen. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. So these Israelites are now believers. He poured his spirit out on them. They're believers. That's not disputable. And now what happens? And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. That's Yeshua, the Word made flesh. They see Yeshua, the one they pierced. They stuck a spear in his side when he was being crucified, and blood and water came out. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadramon in the valley of Megiddon. So all of Israel is mourning Yeshua after they look and they see him, because they realize he's the Messiah, and they've been blaspheming him and rejecting him their whole life, and they feel miserable. That's the mourning. Now what happens when they see Yeshua? Church doesn't teach you this either. But it's in your Bible, 1 John 3:2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Oh, it says we'll be like Yeshua. Let's take it a deeper level. John 6:40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up at the last day. Well, that tells you the rapture's at the last day, and everybody that believes goes up on the same day. It says that in the next verse. The previous verse. And this is John 6:39, this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. So all that Father God Jehovah gave to Yeshua gets raised up on the same day, the last day, which means they're on the 1 day. So it's after the tribulation's over. And that's why you meet him in the air, because Father God Jehovah comes down, burns the whole universe up, and then you go up to heaven on the clouds of heaven. And that's the last day. They're on the more days, and everybody goes up on that day. There's no left behind rapture. These schmucks want to keep teaching it, and people don't keep reading their Bible. they're going to keep believing it. John 6:44, Yeshua says it again. No man can come to me except the Father which had sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. He says it again. Everybody goes up on the same day, no left behind rapture. And even if you didn't get it yet, he says it yet again in John 6:54. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood, that's communion, hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. There it is again. Everybody goes up on the same day, the last day, which is after Satan's released, after the 1,000 years. It's after the millennium is over, and Satan's released. And they teach crap in these churches, and then these people hate Jews. Does 2 + 2 = 4 here? They're not in Yeshua, they're in some other Jesus. It's some phony. That's why they hate Jews. The demons hate Jews. That's why they hate Jews. Is such a thing possible? Well, according to 2 Corinthians 11:4, it happens. For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, oh, that is possible, whom we have not preached, or if you receive another spirit which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not accepted, you might well bear with them. So they have another Jesus, and they have another gospel, and they receive another spirit, and that's why they hate the Jews. But they're like the tares in the wheat in Matthew 13. He says, no, don't root the tares up. The angels will come do it at the end, because if you root the tares up now, you'll uproot the roots of the wheat. So the angels separate them. So a lot of people are married to tares that are real believers and so forth. Okay. So in Zechariah 12, when Yeshua appears in the clouds, they see him and they receive everlasting life, which is not that you can't die. In New Jerusalem, there is no death, because you drink of the water of life and eat of the tree of life, but that comes later. So they live a long time, like people's days will be like a tree, like before the flood, only longer, because we get a double portion this time. Okay? And that can happen next week, this week, next week. I think that the pieces are still not ready, but I think there's going to be some destructions of some countries preceding that, because we're in record tenses now. Okay? Now, a lot of you are, I'm reading it all to you out of your Bible. You know this stuff has never been fulfilled before. And yet I tell you, there's going to be a lot of people rejecting it, because they are just not real believers. They went out from among you because they were not of you. They reject the scriptures. And what does Yeshua say? If you reject knowledge, I will reject you. And they reject it. They don't want Yeshua's gospel. They want the church gospel, which contradicts Yeshua. And that means it's of Satan, who's the father of lies and a murderer from the beginning. And that's why you see them hating Jews and posting all this hatred towards them. Okay. So now we're going to go to Malachi 3, and I believe we're going to learn a little bit here. Malachi 3, verse 1. Behold, I will send my Malach, that's messenger, that's a play on words from the title of the book. Malachi is really Malach in Hebrew. And he shall prepare the way before me. Well, John the Baptist with the spirit of Elijah did that, but he failed, obviously, and he got his head cut off and died, unfortunately. And he shall prepare the way before me, and he says, Adonai, whom you seek, shall suddenly come to his temple. Even the Malach, so that's, suddenly come to his temple is the glory of God of Israel, Michael. and the next temple will be there. It comes down from heaven. If you read Ezekiel 37, the last 3 verses, you'll pick up on that, I think. This is not New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem says there is no temple there. This is your Bible. That's it. Okay? Even the Malach of the covenant, that's Elijah, the messenger of the covenant. The Jews believe Elijah will come and teach them Torah, which is true. Probably starting with the Messiah. Okay. Messenger in the covenant whom you delight in. What does that mean? On Pesach, Passover, the Jews have what's called the Seder, and they set a place setting for Elijah. Many of them have a chair that has Elijah's name on it. They pour him a goblet of wine. They put plates, silverware, and stuff out. And if it's safe enough, they leave the door open. Of course, they got this game they play that Elijah attends their Seder spiritually. So, whom you delight in, that's where that comes from. They also think Elijah attends the circumcision of every Jewish male. This is, of course, not true. This is the Talmudic rabbis feeding them crap. Behold, he shall come, saith Jehovah of armies. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? Now, he's not focusing this at those laying siege to Israel. Doesn't sound like that, right? Now the coming is when he starts working openly. He's here, and so is Apostle John. They're in Israel. They're waiting for the light to go green. And who shall stand? I was going to say, and there'd be mean fighting machines. In a way they are, but they're much more than that. They're not just blunt instruments of Jehovah's. That's one of the things they do. They're there for the people, to help the people, to nourish the people, to build the people up, to protect them, and to further the real gospel. And, they're not just blunt instruments. Don't go there. And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like a fuller's soap. And this is Elijah. And he shall sit as a refiner. Shall sit as a refiner's, like a refiner's fire, and like a fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi, the Levites, and purge them as gold and silver. Hold on, it jumped on me. Jumped a chapter ahead, I'm sorry. Now the thing froze. Alright, what's wrong? I got something going on here. Wait, let me see what I can do. Alright. Oh, hold on. That thing is getting frozen on Malachi. Oh, there it is. It's fixed. Okay. The sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Jehovah an offering in righteousness. Okay, so what it's saying is that the Levites will be righteous. It's not talking about the mechanics of killing the animals. It's talking about the Levites following the heavier things of the law. Okay? How they treat each other, how they treat God, and, all of these things. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, as in former years. That means they have the blessings of the law. Read Deuteronomy 28, if you will. For that, they have the blessings of the law in them now. Because Yeshua said the law is not done away with. Matthew 5:17. Don't think I came to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill. And the next verse says, for as long as there's a heaven and an earth, not one jot or tittle shall be done away with from the law. I see there's still a heaven and an earth. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, the adulterers. You see, these are the Israelites, the adulterers, the witches, false swearers, those that go and lie in court, against those that oppress the hireling, and in his wages the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith Jehovah of hosts. For I am Jehovah, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers you are gone away from my ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith Jehovah of hosts. But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. See, he considers not giving tithes and offerings robbing God. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even the whole nation. Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now wherewith, saith Jehovah of armies, that I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that they shall not be room enough to receive it. Okay. So that is what we see here. So when we see Elijah training Levites and the glory of God of Israel going into his temple, I don't see any. Well, I see the temple, and it says he will come suddenly to his temple, but it doesn't say he's at the temple right then. So I think the temple comes first. They do the blessings correctly, the blessings, the offerings correctly, the blessings of the law come on them. Now, the people in Israel that are still alive are not going to like, which is probably most of them, are not going to be happy with Elijah, the rabbis and all of them. Yeah, the church will probably call, I don't know which one, but Elijah and Apostle John will probably be the beast and the false prophet to them, because they're going to follow the law. And they might refer to the glory of God of Israel, but they won't get to see him. They probably call him Satan or something. Who knows? They're ridiculous people. All right, so because the blessings of the Lord come on them, then the Israelites, the government and so forth, are going to try to control the Elijah, and well, come on, we got to do Talmud and Kabbalah or whatever they're going to try, and he's not going to have much patience for them. He's not going to immediately put them to the sword. He'll try to straighten them out a little bit anyway, and they won't, and then they'll go down for the count, the dirt nap forever. That's it. And when the nations of the world see that the Israelites that were serving Satan can't do anything about Elijah and Apostle John, well, then it's going to be time to really lay the siege big time on Israel. Now, Gaza may still be alive down there, Hamas, and they'll be in the siege, and the Lebanese could be in the siege still. You know, so they'll still be around. It looks like Jordan will be in the siege. They'll still be around. Turkey will probably be in the siege. No, Egypt, stuff like that. I think they're going to be afraid of the two witnesses. They're not going to know what to do, so they're going to surround Israel. And they're going to try to stop everything from going in and out of Israel. And that's what a siege is, a barricade, a blockade, whatever you want to call it, right? A siege. They may or may not be attacking Israel. They may just be trying to stop everything. No, you can't leave Israel. No, you can't go into Israel. No, you can't deliver packages. No, you can't get this, you can't get that. So the two witnesses go, and maybe they tell them to disperse, maybe they don't. And they get burned up. That's that day, the same day that the Son of Man, Yeshua, will appear in the clouds. Okay? And you read that in several places. A lot of times they twist the meaning of the words when it reads about the coming of the Son of Man. It can also mean the word appearing. They twist it. But I'll read a couple to you. Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. We've read about that in Zechariah 12. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Now, the word for coming is 2664 in the Greek, and Strong's gives it a meaning of it can mean accompany, it can mean appear, come, enter, and so forth. So he's appearing with his seated on the right hand of power, which is Father God Jehovah. Why is he still on Jehovah's right hand? Because Psalm 110:1 says, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. And at the time he appears, his enemies have still not yet been made his footstool. So he's still at the right hand of Jehovah. So in order to keep that scripture true, Jehovah appears with him. And this is also seen in Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. That's right out of Zechariah 12. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Every eye will see him. Well, if you're a believer in Yeshua, and I would not trust on church affiliation for this, if you're a real believer in Yeshua, you too will have everlasting life, and you too will come to Israel in the next great Exodus, and you'll be very happy to, because there's not going to be much left of the world. That is the great reset. All right, let me take a look in the chat. And I gave you this entirely straight out of the Bible. Look at this, they call me CIA. Jimmy Stanley. Nobody engages me with scriptures and tries to dispute what I say, though. Right? They can't. They don't know the word. Someone said, Jen, question. I don't know what you, if you want to ask me a question, ask me a question. You know. So I've given you a good dose of what to expect. So there's those of us that are going to believe the scriptures. There's those of us that won't. And there's those of us that will not believe the scriptures yet, but down the road we will. All right. So, let me see what I didn't accomplish that I wanted to. I'll get my notes. I made notes. Oh, we got some requests here. Okay. Actually, two toss requests we have. One is to toss MM, Mike, MM, Mike, toss for MM. And I have a toss for GB, girl, boy. Toss for GB, girl, boy. Toss for GB. That's it. I don't have prayer requests. Please keep praying for my packages. I'm not yet giving up. One of them's in process. The other one, I don't know what they did with it. I can't tell if they sent it back. They didn't send it back. I don't know what they did. All right. I can't do much with it. Friday is generally a no work day in Israel in a lot of the big companies. So the previous, well, I think Wednesday night to Thursday night to Friday night, yeah, they're on there. I can't remember. I think it's the second day of their non-biblical holiday, Rosh Hashanah, and then we go into Shabbat. So it's like a 3-day Shabbat or something. So everything in Israel is, you know. No, I don't know if it's the third day. I lose track. I don't follow the Talmudic holidays really. I don't care much about them. To pay much attention. So, but I believe there's going to be, nothing's going to bounce back to normal until Monday. And I can't even get a grocery delivery. This week I got shut out. I got to wait till early next week to get groceries delivered, which we use for certain things. I get staples delivered, big bottles of water so you don't have to schlep them, paper towels, toilet paper, soap, bagels, which are really more like bagel-like objects than real bagels, and bread, bagels, sandwich meat, cheese, very little, right? A few things like that delivered. And, my wife didn't go to the Arab supermarket because we're having all these missile attacks, and she didn't want to drive on the road, and I didn't blame her one bit. I think it was a good decision. So we got nearby markets. We got the kosher steaks. Oh, I couldn't even finish eating them. We were giving them to the dog. I couldn't even finish them. They were so bad. You know, they were tough, had terrible lack of flavor, just garbage. I ate maybe not even half of them. They went to the dogs. I mean, they're just, and they were not cheap. It's just they weren't worth eating. They take the meat, and none of this is in the Bible. They take the meat and they heavily salt it. Oh, I think they wash it first, then they heavily salt it, and they let the salt sink in there. Then they wash it again, and then they salt it again, and they might wash it a third time, I don't know, to get the salt off, I don't know. And then they sell it to you. And the washing and the salt is supposed to get the blood out of it, according to them, and it ruins the flavor, and the texture. It sucks the flavor out, ruins the flavor, makes the meat tough and no flavor. It's just terrible. It's terrible. That's why a lot of them charcoal barbecue their meat, because you get flavor in it from the charcoal bricks and it's just puke. It's puke. And they do it, it's just a cruel joke that Satan's playing on Israel with this kosher food garbage. There's no such thing in the Bible. There's clean food and unclean food. There's no kosher food. And I think it probably ups our food prices if you buy kosher. I would think as much as 35%. I used to think it was less, but I think it's up there. So if you go to the Arab supermarkets, you get the clean food. The cow is clean, head to toe. You know, they can't do the halal killing in Israel. It's too cruel and brutal and evil. They don't let them do it here. So you're getting regular cow, and it's a clean food, right? If you're worried about clean food. So you just, they don't put the kosher in it. You don't have the salty garbage. It just ruins it, you know? You know, you'd have to drown it in ketchup, but the texture of the meat was so bad. You just, when I gave it to the dog, and she's a big dog, mommy, she's no small dog, and she's a tough dog, it was hard for her to chew it. I mean, you see, when a big dog is having trouble chewing the meat, I mean, to her it was great. She was going to sit there. If she had her, she'd stay there for 45 minutes. She wouldn't care. But, you know, she had to really chew it to get it to go down. It was such crap, you know. And that's what they do to us here. They get us from within. Our government, the rabbis, that's how Satan works. So the kosher food is just disgusting. Really, it is. I mean, I never saw them to just kill the flavor of it, you know. Some of it isn't so bad, like I buy sliced sandwich meat. It's so hard to try it non-kosher, you gotta get it kosher. So, you know, I get it, and it's not that bad. The eggs, they can't kosher eggs. What are they gonna do? Break the egg open, put the salt in, and then cover it up, you know. So the eggs are like everybody's eggs, so they're good. I like eating eggs. The cheese, they don't kosher dairy, so it's fine. We got excellent cheese. Got excellent yogurt here, excellent cheese, you know. Cream cheese is good. Breads are 90% of the breads are pure crap in Israel, but 10% of them are okay. The fruit, it's all over the place. You can get good fruit here if you know where to get it. You know, it can be good, but a lot of it is junk. Then vegetables are vegetables. They don't kosher. You know, whatever you want, it's good. You know, things like Heinz vegetarian beans, right? That's not the greatest food for you in the world. They probably put sweeteners and stuff in it to get the flavor, but it sure tastes good, right? They have a version of it here in Israel. I tell you, it's like, it's so bad. They don't import the food anymore. 30-something years ago, they used to import. I used to be able to get Sara Lee cakes, orange cake, cheesecake, and that's not good food for you, but it's a lot of fun to eat. And they don't bring it in anymore. Their version of cheesecake is, I mean, so like the difference between a motorcycle and a tractor trailer truck. It's all this fluffy, hollow, syrupy, bloated up sweet crap. It's not cheese. Cheesecake is not cheesecake. I don't know what it is. It's garbage. It's garbage is all it is. I guess you could probably get real cheesecake at the bakery. I think you can, actually. Then they have the hot dogs, surprisingly, are kosher, and they're really tasty. I can't give you an explanation for that, but it's tasty. Some of them. I have no explanation other than I know it's tasty. I eat it. I like it. I'd rather eat hamburger than filet mignon. At least you could chew the stuff, and it doesn't taste that bad, and then you could flavor it if you got to eat kosher. Thankfully, 90% of our meat is not kosher meat. Oh man, is that bad. So you can eat stuff here, you know. There's stuff to eat. There's a really good hamburger place that delivers, and they got excellent hamburgers. They really are excellent, and they're non-kosher, and they deliver, but they're very expensive. But they're good. I mean, you can buy hamburger meat, raw hamburger meat from them, but my wife doesn't like to do that for some reason. I don't think she likes the fat content. She likes a high fat content. Sushi and sashimi in Israel is medium. It's not horrible. It's not good or excellent. It's middle of the road, medium. Is it edible? Yeah, it's edible. Do I go out and spend money on it? Oh, no, not anymore. It's just a waste. It's not enjoyable enough to do that. Chinese food, it doesn't taste like Chinese food in North America, South America, Central America, or Europe. But it's Chinese food, they say. It's sweet, that's how they like it. And is it enjoyable? I'd have to admit it's enjoyable. Is some of it good? I'd have to admit some of it's good. Thai food, not bad. You can get it. It's probably not as good as what you'd get in America or Europe, but you could eat it. Falafel is good if you want falafel, but I mean, how many times do you eat falafel? Shawarma, yeah, that's good too, but it's not that great. So you really just got to dance around the kosher meats because they're puke. Fish, they don't kosher fish, so you could do good with fish. Like my wife brought me some packages of herring. They were imported from Norway, I think. Oh, they were fantastic. I gobbled them up. They were not good. They were very good. Not excellent, but they were very good. And they sell salmon here in all different renditions and versions. And it ranges from good to even excellent. And they have other fish too, but most of the tuna you come across is just canned tuna. They have bumblebee or star-kissed or whatever, you know, the same stuff, and it tastes like the same stuff you get in America or Europe. Same junk, you know. It's not good, it's not bad. You can get sardines and sprats and things like that here. They taste just like they do in America. They give them to you with more flavors, so you can get them with ketchup, get them with mustard, get them in water, get them in olive oil. I don't know what else. Get them with olives, maybe. I don't know, something like that. They're not bad. They're not bad. So fish is an easy way to go. So if you got to go to a kosher restaurant, go for the fish. You know, then you don't have washed, salted junk, tough, tasteless. The kosher meat is tasteless and tough. Buy some in a store one day and try it. You see, it's not worth eating. Don't buy an expensive cut of meat. You're throwing your money away. Buy something that's, you know, cheap, and you'll see it's not worth it. It's a cruel joke of Satan, you know. What else? Turkey's not popular here in Israel anymore. It used to be, but not so much. Chicken wings in Israel, they sell it as like scrap. It's cheaper than America. It's really cheap. So we do a lot with chicken wings. You can put them on a grill and they're quite delicious, even though they're kosher. Well, we can get them non-kosher too. They're good. They don't believe in chicken wings very much here in Israel. They don't consider it good food. else? I guess I covered chocolate in Israel. The chocolate, if you like chocolate, I don't eat much of it. It's as I would say it's 90% as good as top drawer Belgian or Swiss chocolate, maybe even as good, depending on the brand. I mean, it's really good. I'm telling you, you got chocolate with creamy candy inside, you got white chocolate, bittersweet chocolate, milk chocolate, you got chocolate and chocolate, any kind of chocolate you want. These are good chocolate. It's good chocolate. Potato chips in Israel, they just sell potato chip like objects. They have no flavor. They're just junk. It's a waste of time to eat them. They're that bad. They're nothing like Lay's or Y's or any real potato chips. It's just junk. You know, they're junk. Nuts in Israel, any kind of nuts you want. Are they good? Yeah, just like any other country, they're quite good. Olives, oh, we got olives all over the place. Great olives, great pickles. Olives and pickles we do very, very well with. That's, fruits and vegetables, depending where you shop, you get little junky ones, the nice big, thick, juicy ones. Depending where you go to get them, and they can be good or not so good. It depends on what you're buying. But they could be good. The grapes could be very good, and there's a lot of good things. I get watermelons here. They're cold, they're pink, they got seeds, they're wet, and they got no flavor in them at all. And then you get another watermelon that's just reeking with flavor. The same with honeydew and cantaloupe melons, the same thing. You get some that have very little flavor or none, and some are really very, very good. It just depends, Salads is similar, You cannot get canned soup in a can here. That's sick, isn't it? But you can't. You gotta buy powdered soup, or you got the ramen. But I don't think what they put in ramen is real food. I think those noodles are made out of polyester or something. I don't know what they do with them, but they're pretty bad. I mean, I occasionally eat them when it's cold and I want to have warm soup. I think they're kind of fun to eat, but they're not real good for you. That's about it, I guess. So I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, and healing. Pray for our finances. Pray for our packages to get delivered. The bird is doing great. The bird's starting to do little cross the top of the cage flights like this far, and sticks the wings out, puts the cockatoo crown up, and screams and yells and runs around and carries. The bird's doing really good. The one we were praying for that had the hole in the breast, that's doing really good. And we introduced them to one of the other birds that was a rescue. And I think she's a girl and the other one's a boy, we think. And they're different breeds, but they seem to be getting along. The other rescues are African greys, and I don't think the African greys have much use for birds that are not African greys. So I think these two are the castaways, and they're forming their own social club. So it looks interesting. They may become buddies. I don't know if they would mate because they're not the same breed, but I don't know. I'd have to ask an expert. I don't know. Maybe they would. I don't know. But they're hitting it off, and both of them when they're dead when they got here. Yeah. You prayed for the other one, Tiki. I call him the Tikster, Hatikva. I call him Tiki or the Tikster. He always talks to me. He doesn't talk very loud, but he squawks at me. So yeah, those are the birds we prayed for. They're doing really good. You know, they're doing pretty good. One of these crazy African greys, whenever I come out there, says hello to me in my own voice. Not only do they mimic the words, they can be like a ventriloquist and copy your voice. So it sounds like I'm talking to myself. They're real wise guys, you know. They're very, very smart birds. Okay, so pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues to be happy, healthy, and whole. Beulah's coming along. She's still wearing the cone. And please keep praying for Beulah with the broken teeth to get better. She was, my best guess is she was trying to escape the yard when the jackasses from Lebanon were lobbing missiles at us. And the Iron Domes were going off, and she panicked and tried to run away. And she was trying to bite the gate in a rage of fear and broke some teeth. And I don't know what the end of that is, but one of them we removed, and then she had to have stitches. So she has to wear a cone until there's all this healing where the stitches are. So she tries to take a paw and pull the stitches out because she doesn't know any better. So that can't happen. Chief's doing good. Chief's doing good. And so pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray that we don't go in the bomb. We don't have to go in the bomb shelter. And I will. You should subscribe and please hit the like button. That'll take you 2 seconds. And I'll keep you guys posted. The attack on Iran could happen any day, but I have a hunch the Americans want that other battleship, the other aircraft carrier group in theater before they go. They're going to feel a lot better. Between the two aircraft carriers, they could summon up 150 fighters, and then they've got probably at least about that many on the ground. So they got 300, and we have a little over 300. But mind you that fighters are usually, there's a percentage of them that are down. The American is usually 70% are ready for flight. Because Israel's in wartime and everything, I would say maybe 85% are ready to go. But, you know, but that's a lot of fighters, and it's enough to take them out. And then you back it up with a lot of missiles and drones, and you got it. So Iran is, according to my study of Bible prophecy, about to go down memory lane, along with Iraq and Syria, and they are all proxies. Iraq and Syria are proxies, and they all hate Israel and have been antagonistic and aggressive against Israel, trying to destroy Israel, and that's the year of recompenses over the controversy of Zion, and they're perfectly out there. So's Gaza, so's Hezbollah. And if you don't believe in God, or you believe God won't do anything, then you believe that. But I don't believe that way. So what did I do today? Just about at 3 hours. That's a pretty long time, but I guess we got stuff done. My email address is in the lowest line down in the description box. I try to answer questions. And offering information's in the description box if you want to be a partaker of this work and help it spread. And that's it, kids. So I send my Shabbat Shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I am out.